conditioning coach for 19 years. He is a kinesiologist and all-round badass. And he's here today to teach us a little bit about the functional anatomy of the swing. Jared.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your experience with the kettlebell.
So I was introduced to kettlebells back in 2008. I did a 3-day workshop, and I feel like most personal trainers, when they learn something new about a new piece of equipment, for about the next year of my life, nothing else existed. You go back to, you work with your clients, and it's barbells, forget them. Oh, medicine balls, never again, right? Everything was all about the kettlebell, and then, you find some balance back in your life after some lived experience, and now they're just a great adjunct to pretty much all of my workouts. So whether it's conditioning, weight loss, strength, power, your athletic endeavors, whatever, the kettlebells can work into pretty much every aspect of all of your training, regardless of what your goals are.
I love that, and they've become really popular now. So I think a lot of people have them in their gym, and they're just underutilized tools. Well, now there's so much information out there on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I think some of the problem with some of this free information is that it's not always correct or science-based. So that's what we're here to do today.
What we're going to focus on is maybe less about right and wrong, but more about skillful. What are the adaptations that we're looking to achieve? What are the outcomes? What is going to hurt you? And that's probably the biggest thing of what today is going to be about. People, hop on the interwebs and they find this video, they grab a kettlebell and just start banging away. And then, the next day it's, oh, my back, my shoulder, my elbow, my feet, whoa, what's going on? And then they curse the kettlebell and never pick it up again. So we're going to break down some of those aspects of anatomy up for success before we start swinging a 70-pound kettlebell at mock chicken speeds.
Yes, I love that. And that's the same with any kind of training that you're doing. Like, you're not just going to pop over to the squat rack and start squatting like 200 pounds. You need to work your way up to things. So let's make sure that we have the basic movement patterns down pat. We kind of understand the anatomy of the swing before we go balls to the wall. Let's get into it. What do you think?
All right, perfect.
All right, let's do it.
What we're going to start with is a static core brace. And so this is one of those aspects of basically all training that I feel, I don't want to go as far as say people fail at, but they think they're doing well when they're not.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So I'm just going to poke the top of your hip here. Is that all right?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So I'm just going to find the top of your pelvic bone here. So I'll get you to use your right fingers on the top of your pelvis on that side. Now, is your low back touching the ground?
It is not.
It is not. Okay, so, and this goes for anybody, do not push your back into the floor. This is a common misconception, right?
Yeah.
Because if you go ahead and push your low back into the floor, you can feel what your pelvis does. The whole pelvis tilts.
Yeah.
So what I'll get you to do is stick your right hand under the small of your back. This gives you a nice natural curve. That is your neutral position. So let's come back to the pelvis. We're going to move your fingers about 2 inches in from the crest. Push your stomach out into your fingers, right? That right there. So that is the transverse abdominis. That creates the stabilization. So I want you to push back out into the fingers again, right? And that pressure, I want you to be able to hold that. Now keep breathing. So a common thing, exactly. As soon as you feel it, and you feel it shutting down now.
Yeah.
So it's a common thing. People will hold their breath to get the diaphragm to come down and to create false pressure within the abdomen. So you need to be able to continue to hold that pressure while you breathe. This is going to be our first static brace, right? Relax there. So we are going to hold it for about a 10-second count. So it's going to be turn it on, hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax for a 3 count, put it on again for a 10 count. Okay? And what you can even do when you start this is just give a little draw in, right? So draw the belly button in a little bit. Now push out, but don't let your abdomen raise. So you can see, abdomen is still staying nice and flat. You're not getting like a big belly coming out or anything like that. So Lots of pressure. I can feel strong, like when you squeeze your bicep, and it's like, right? Yeah. There's a lot of good pressure in that transverse abdominis. So now we'll just go in and we'll talk for a couple seconds here. So we'll call that 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Right? Get that second. 2, 1. Brace. Go. And then we're holding that for another 10, 9, 8. Now the thing you can do as we're going through this, if this is kind of like boring, one of the things that you can do is incorporate this into your life. Right? 2, 1, relax. So this is the supine brace. This is the first static core exercise we're going to start with. All right, so now let's change this into a dynamic pattern. So what we're going to do is essentially, you're going to go from here and just nice and easy, don't brace anything, just sit back onto your heels now. So this is the rocking position. It's from this position here, I want you to try to squeeze the floor between your hands and knees. Right? You might feel your lats turn on a little bit. Right? Now let's turn on that core brace again, push it in. Right? Perfect. I don't know if you guys can see it in the camera, but you can see the little hairs on our head here going and just shaking a little bit. That little tremble, that's a good thing. So we'll squeeze the floor, right? Strong core brace, and now slowly, like for a 5 count, sit your hips towards your heels. And I'm watching this part of your spine. I'm watching the lumbar spine to change position. Pause. And now slowly come back up. Perfect. Relax. That's 1. Yes. Woo. Now, when you do these as sets of 1. So we're going to do 6, right? So that's 1. Do a little reset. You can do a little cat-cow, right? Okay. This can help reset the spine, get back into neutral, squeeze the floor, core brace, 5 seconds down, 5 seconds up. Right? And we're watching this. Right? Come back up. Yeah. Perfect. Reset, cat-cow. Right? Now, let's say somebody maybe has a little bit of restricted hip mobility. This is the first time you've ever done this, right? And what I'm going to get you to do is, as you sit back about halfway down, I want you to go into that posterior tilt again. Let's say you're sitting down and you get about here, boom, stop right there. Your back starts to round here, stop. This is your range of motion, right? So then you come back up and then you come back to the top. And you just start within this range of motion. Work with what your body's going to give you, right? So that is the introduction to our core or lumbar stability.
Awesome.
The next aspect of the kettlebell swing that we're going to touch on here is the hip extension. So this is undervalued, great word, undervalued, yes. So what we'll see a lot of times when it comes to hip extension is people will do this hip thrust or hip extension, and they'll come up partially. So just go ahead and bring your hips up to about my hand here. Right? Oh, maybe that's a little, come back down. I got a little exaggerated. Yeah, okay. Perfect. And they'll come to about here, because this is as far as they can come. And if this is as far as you can come, that's fine. But it's not far enough, right? Because when you're up here, you can see if we look between the knees and the shoulder, it's right? There's still a flex in the hips. We need full hip extension. So what we want to see from our first position, we come back down, what we want to see from our first static position, a 15 to 30 second hold. So what I'm going to get you to do, we're going to pull your shoulders down away from your ears. We're going to turn that core brace back on. You're going to push your feet straight down into the floor. You're not going to try to pull your heels towards your bum. You're not going to try to push your toes to the wall. These are also very common errors.
Gotcha.
Push your feet straight down into the floor to push your hips towards the ceiling. And then I should be able to feed a family of 4 off your torso. A nice straight line from the knees to the shoulders. We're not twisting and adjusting and shifting, because if we're moving, that's not static. We see people, just play with me a little bit here, like they'll see their hips will drop a little bit and they'll come back up because they'll recognize, oh, I made a mistake. Exactly. And they're shifting left to right. No, it's up, it's tight, glutes are on, core is on, tight. And you're holding that for 15, 30 seconds. Now, once we get good at that, bring it back down, we can start getting into more dynamic movement. We'll just turn that into a hip thrust, right? So you just come back up, tight, keeping the core on, back down, right? And make it into that dynamic movement, keeping that core on through the movement.
Even at the bottom.
Even at the bottom, exactly. Now, we want to challenge this a little bit. If this is feeling good, we can come up and hold, straighten out your right leg, bang, bring it back down. Straighten out your left leg. Bring it back down. Notice there's no shifting there. That was really good. Come back down. Back up. Right leg. Bring it back down. Stay tight. Left leg. Stay tight. Bring it back down. Good. Back down. Awesome. Another common error is accentuating or improving mobility through the lower back. Yes. So what you'll see is people will come, and I hope this doesn't give you any grief, but you come up right there and then arch your lower back really high. And yeah, they get this big bow, right? This is not what we're looking for. This is the lower back doing all of this work. The glutes are doing nothing here. This is all low back. So what you would say, if this is you, pull those ribs down, right? So now ribs are talking to the pelvis. We don't want ribs coming up here and pelvis pointing down here. We want pelvis and ribs talking to each other. So this is going to be a floor row. So this is what this is going to do is introduce some stability into your upper back. Because again, if we're taking a heavy kettlebell and we're swinging it between the legs, that's really going to want to pull our torso forward. Yes. So we really got to learn how to get our upper back up into extension and stabilize with our scapulas.
Right, without that rib flare you were talking about,
without the rib flare, right? Turn on the cord. Right? Pull the back of your shoulders against the floor. Yes, just like that. Shoulders are down away from the ears, just like they are. Now, we are pushing our elbows and palms equally into the floor. So what you're going to do, when I say go, you are almost going to try to keep your torso rigid, pushing your palms and elbows into the floor. Almost try to lift your torso off the floor, but don't actually, right? And what you should feel is a lot of work in between your shoulder blades, right? And down the sides into the latissimus dorsi, right? Yeah. So all down through here. So you're gonna feel your lats working a lot, and you should feel your shoulder blades working a lot. So it's gonna be a 5 count. So you're gonna go 5 seconds on, 3 seconds off, okay? So cores on, shoulders away from the ears, okay? Shoulders into the floor and push into the floor. 4, 3, don't forget to breathe. 2, 1, relax. Right? You fix it all twitchy there, everything's working, right? Again, shoulders away from the ears. 3, 2, 1, and push. 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax, right? Awesome. You can feel it, right? Yeah. Oh, exactly. Right? Your knees are working. That's good. And one more time. Shoulders down and go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Perfect. So what are we feeling? We not only need to condition those muscles to get them prepped for work, right? But your brain needs to know how to actually find them.
Yeah, right? Totally.
Know how to get them to work, because they are going to be super important when we actually get the kettlebell into your hands. And if we give it enough attention, we give it enough love, it will continue, right? Oh yeah, we're doing this thing again. I know how to do this, and we don't need to put mental energy into it. Now let's move into the dynamic movement. These are going to be prone Ys. Perfect. So start with the Y. The Y, see it with your hands on the floor. Right, perfect, just like that. So this is going to be our neutral position. So what we're going to do is going to move your hair out of the way. We're going to take all of that same good floor row position that we just utilized. So now, because we are in a prone position here where our chest is down, I'm going to get you to actually lift your chest up just a touch. So this starts to engage a lot of these spinal stabilizers. We're going to pull the shoulders down away from your ears. And now instead of pushing your palms down into the floor by your hips, we're going to lift them up above your head. So come up into the Y, and as you come up into the Y, you're going to draw your scapulas down towards your waist. Yeah. 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Right? So that's the position. Now I just did a little hold there just to get you to feel it. Okay? Now what we want is very little upper trap and neck engagement here. Okay. So I'm going to get you set in that Y position, and we're going to come up for a set of 10. So pull as you come up, pull down this way, and then back down. Yeah. And then up, engage, down. Yeah, you betcha. Pull this guy down a little lower. There you go. All right. So I don't know if you can feel it, but this is a common thing where people will start to flex in the elbow a little bit. Exactly. And you're dropping down a little low, coming more to a T state, up in the Y. At about 45 degrees from the shoulders. Yeah, you betcha. Now again, if you're tight through the shoulders and all you can do is come to here, then that's where you start. The idea is to get you all the way up to there. Right? Be in line with the rest of their torso.
Oh.
Good. You relax there. Knee stability. This knee stability aspect, this does not just apply to kettlebells. This is everyone. Anybody that, you know, I hear this, I have weak knees. Well, your knee is a joint. You can't have weak knees, but the musculature around the knees can definitely be weak. This may also be the aspect of fill in the blank activity or exercise hurts my knees. Running, lunges, squats, stairs,
Yes.
whatever that, if you've ever, anybody has ever said that to you, this is the exercise. So this is going to be the standing terminal knee extension. This is what we call a closed chain exercise, and that's because your foot stays grounded to the floor. It closes the kinetic chain, and this eliminates a lot of the shear forces through the knee. And this is usually where we get a lot of pain, is from shear forces. Tibia sits here, femur sits here, tibia wants to slide that way, and basically all the soft tissue in there is going, no, we don't want to, right? And gravity says, too bad. So that's where a lot of that discomfort and pain comes from, so this eliminates that. So basically what I'm going to get you to do is you're going to stand inside the band, and just have the band anchored onto our bench here. Where we want this is right in the groove of the knee, not down here on the calf, not up here on the hamstring, but right in the crest of the knee.
In the pit.
What I will get you to do is basically walk back as far as you comfortably can while still being balanced to your feet. Right? Perfect. Then what you're going to let your knee do is you're going to let your knee track forward, and you're going to come up onto the ball of your right foot. No shifting, no twisting. And now you're going to push your heel into the floor, squeezing the quad, squeezing the glute, right? And then let it come forward. You're going to do this for about 15 reps. And push heel into the ground, squeeze the quad. Really trying to get a lot of activation out of the quadricep, and you're going to feel that glute's going to want to fire at the same time.
Yeah.
This is going to be the top of the kettlebell swing when we get there. It's going to be all about extending the knee and extending the glute and being nice and solid. Common area to see people is the hip is going to want to drift forward, or when that knee comes forward, the hips are going to shift, right? But I don't know if you guys see it, she's shaking a little, but Amanda's being nice and solid. She's working real hard here, right? What number are you on?
10. This
10.
is 11.
Okay, one more. Yeah, good. We'll start with 12. This, while it is moving, this is our static aspect, right? Our dynamic aspect of the movement we're going to move into is a short step up. So, now, instead of being up on your toe, we're going to put your heel down. Exactly. We're going to put that whole extension together just like I was talking about. Your pelvis is kind of tilted forward, so let's bring the shoulders forward a little bit so they're over top of the feet. So shoulders over top of your feet is a good place to start. Guess what? Core on, shoulders down, right? Everything in this tight in that kinetic chain. Instead of pushing your heel into the floor, you're going to push your foot into the box to raise your body up. And squeezing the quad, squeezing the glute, and coming straight back down. Bang. Again, watch where your foot is starting, come back up, push it into the floor, come straight back down. Right? We all do it because our brain is programmed that way by walking. Is toeing off. You're using the calf of the right foot. So, a little trick that you can do, which makes this way more challenging, right, is you're going to take your right toes and you're just going to lift your toes off the floor. Right?
Nice.
Lift the whole ball of your foot. Exactly, right there. Now, keep that core on, pushing into the box with the left foot, bring the body up. Now, stay tight, come down onto the heel. Because you get way more eccentric effort as you're coming down because you don't get to land with the toe and then control yourself down. Ball of the foot off the floor, yep. Tight, control down. Yes. Squeeze, tight, control down, yep.
It seems so simple, you know?
Yeah, but again, stay tight through it. The last segment to the kettlebell swing is essentially balance. What we're going to do is a supported single leg Romanian deadlift.
All right.
So essentially what we're going to do is I'd like you to face the end of the bench, right? And so just the bench is about at fingertips length. Exactly. You are going to stand on your right foot and you're going to come into a T position. So standing on your right foot, we're going to hinge through the hips. You're going to keep the fingertips on the bench, right? And you're just going to come down here and I just want you to get balanced and just be comfortable standing on your foot.
All right.
Okay? Now, hinge through your hip, bring your torso down so the chest is towards the floor, and put just a slight bend in your knee here. Perfect. Now, in this position, where do you feel the weight in your foot?
I feel pretty equally balanced in my foot right now.
Okay, perfect. So what I want you to do
do now is just put a little bit of weight back in your heel. Right? Feel how your toes want to lift up a little bit? Perfect. Now come back and be even. Now I want you to come forward and you can hold on to that bench. I want you to, again, it's forward. I want you to come more to the ball of your foot. Right? See what that feels like. Feel how your body weight has shifted, right?
Yep.
Now come back to neutral again. Be balanced. Right? Now come over onto the pinky side of your foot. Right? Perfect. The big toes want to pop up?
Oh yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Now stand back up for me. Perfect. So when we talk about being balanced in the foot, we want to be balanced between the pinky toe, the big toe, and the heel.
Right, those 3 points of contact.
Those 3 points of contact. We want even distribution between those 3 points. Once we're good at that, we can transition that into a full single leg Romanian deadlift. Getting into that exact same position, we're just going to swing the other leg to do it. So I'm going to get you to open up your palms, put them down by your side, shoulders away from your ears, core on, right? Squeeze your elbows into your sides a little bit, right? Get those lats on, yes. Get that core on. Now start by lifting your left knee up to hip height. Okay? Now you're going to go into that same position we were just in by kicking your left leg back behind you. So you're going to reach your left leg for the wall behind you. Come down, hold tight, and now come up. Pull the left knee through and get tall, extend the hip, extend the knee. Just like the standing terminal knee extension and step up, right? So it's come up, get tight with the leg. Kick it back. And tall, squeeze the knee, squeeze the glute, bang. You're trying to get tall. Kick it back. Up, tight. Beautiful. Rigid throughout at the top. This is going to be so important when we get to the straight. Right? If you can nail down all the aspects of the conditioning that we just went through, then we can start to play with the kettlebell.
Okay.
Right? So this is going to be the first thing to work on. So enjoy.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much.
You're very welcome.
Yes, so tell them what's next.
So
what we can expect.
Next, we're not going to get into the swing quite yet. Next, we're going to go through some accessory work that integrates a lot of the components of the kettlebell swing, but in a, as I described before, in a less violent manner, in more of a static and dynamic manner, that again, just give you some time to work with the nuances of the kettlebell.
Awesome.
You bet.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you all next time. Enjoy, and I hope you do this video several times. Feel nice and confident until we move on to the